Let's talk about how the Daily Mail turned a refugee visit into royal rivalry. So, the Daily Mail, within 2 hours of publishing a story about Harry and Meghan, they actually could not let that sit. So within 2 hours, they changed the headline. Suddenly, the story wasn't about Harry and Meghan visiting refugees. It was about how Jordan is one of the other brothers and the other girls' favorite countries. The revised article actually included photographs of the other brother touring Saudi Arabia and the other brother and the other girl being welcomed into Zaran Palace. And it also included the other brother watching a World Cup match with the Jordanian Crown Prince. How could a humanitarian visit to a refugee camp become a reminder that even Jordan belongs to the other brother? So let's make sure we understand what happened here. So Harry and Meghan, we know they traveled to Jordan to work with the World Health Organization. They visited the Satari camp, which is home to more than 80,000 Syrian refugees. They met children affected by the conflict, and they participated in music lessons and art programs. And they also played football on a fenced pitch with young people who have lost everything. Their work in the region did not begin with the trip. They have partnered with Humanity Crew to provide trauma-informed support to Gaza. They have also issued grants to help with the establishment of mental health emergency rooms in Palestine. And in September 2025, Archwell confirmed further donations to support medical evacuations from Gaza to Jordan through the WHO. This is sustained humanitarian work. This is funding and presence and partnership with global health experts. And yet, the Daily Mail's response was to insert the other brother into the headline. And I think it's kind of pathetic and sad that someone who is the heir to one of the oldest thrones or longest serving royal families in the world would be inserted into something that his younger brother and sister-in-law are doing. That tells me a couple of things. It tells me insecurity, and it tells me irrelevance, and it tells me needing other people to boost their own standing or popularity. And that to me is so pathetic, it's unbelievable. Now, because Jordan is now the other brother's territory now, because apparently the Sussexes cannot visit a country without it being framed as an intrusion into the other brother's domain, because apparently a refugee camp visit must be understood to be seen as a challenge to the other brother. And I ask the question, how insecure is he? How insecure are you that the invisible contract that your younger brother spoke about is actively being played out in real time? So they write one headline, and then within 2 hours, that headline is changed to add you onto the headline. I think that's one of the saddest things I've ever seen in my life. And it just goes to show that the monarchy has really slid into irrelevance. So yeah, I just find it strange, but let me continue. So the two visits are being compared, but they're not alike in any meaningful way. Harry and Meghan went to the Zatari camp. In fact, the king himself had been to the Zatari camp in 2015. And Harry and Meghan went to the camp, they sat at tables with children, they joined in music sessions, they kicked football around on a dusty pitch, and they spoke with families about trauma and resilience. Meanwhile, the other brother, when he visits the Middle East, It's about palace receptions and meetings with regional power brokers and high-level diplomacy, elite alliances, and photo ops with the heads of states. That is what he does in his bid to be seen as a statesman. Now, one visit was centered on children drawing pictures, and the other revolved around royal protocol and political positioning. They are completely different, and yet the Daily Mail compressed both into a rivalry thing, as if they're competing for the same prize, as if humanitarian work and diplomatic engagements are of the same category, which they are not. But the article, I feel, failed to revisit the fact that one of the founding partner for the Earthshot Prize is a confirmed, really close associate of the disgraced Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, this founding partner actually sent one of the vilest videos to Jeffrey Epstein. This person made certain disgusting remarks that were seen in the email release of the records by the Department of Justice in America. So again, why is nobody questioning the other brother's ability to not be able to choose the right people to associate with? There's none of that. And the fact that they had to insert the other brother into a story about refugees, but don't mention these connections to Jeffrey Epstein, is astounding. And there's something else that the article did not mention. The recent racial furore that happened with BAFTA. He is the president of BAFTA, and he sat there and listened as two black men were called a slur. And I've done video upon video about how that man was probably set up by BAFTA and the BBC. And yet, the other brother, as president of BAFTA, could not even be bothered to issue a statement about that. But then you wouldn't expect him to, because he never defended his sister-in-law. And also, he always seems to disappear when there's a need to stand up and be counted. And then they wonder why he's not resonating with Gen Zs. So, yeah, I just find that Harry and Meghan cannot even do humanitarian work nowadays without it being positioned as a challenge to the heir. And I think that's really sad, because that tells me that the whole institution, as well as the heir, are very insecure. Because why would that be a challenge to what you stand to inherit? Because right now, you're briefing against your brother, your father, your grandmother, and anyone who you feel is standing in your way. And there's an African saying that if you brief against anyone, you will look around and there's nobody there for you. And the press that you are relying on to carry out your wishes, they're going to turn on you because they know all your secrets. So I think the edit to that article by the Daily Mail, it actually makes the other brother look very small. It makes him look very insecure. And it makes it appear that the institution cannot allow Harry and Meghan to have any positive coverage without immediately redirecting attention to the heir. So if the heir cannot stand on his own 2 feet, God help this country. But anyway, let me have your thoughts, please. My name's Elizabeth. I'm the author of The Luxpreneur. And for more insights like these, please like, share, comment, and follow me. And to support my work, holding truth to power, you can buy me the biggest cup of coffee for this tea, yes, at buymeacoffee.com/Elizabeth Solaru, or simply pick up a copy of my book, The Luxpreneur, from Amazon, Waterstones, or Barnes & Noble today.